Jakarta, Jam Masters. You go through so many stages on your true spiritual growth. You will get to a stage when you're through fighting, struggling, judging, yourself, not everybody else. You do enough with yourself, that you realize there's a reality. There's this thing called the ego, and you have one. You've been busy trying to have one. You're busy trying to act like you don't have one. You're busy trying to push it away, busy trying to make it nice. Eventually, you just get to the point you realize, oh, there is a thing in the universe called an ego. Everybody has one. It's just a thing in the universe. There's a foot, there's a cloud, there's a Kleenex box, and there's a thing called an ego. That's a very good step in acceptance of realizing it's just reality. Okay? Then you can see it for what it is. You see that there are thought patterns that are created in the mind, and some of them are comfortable, and some of them are not. You've had experiences that come in through your sensory system. They come into your mind, your heart. We'll talk about the mind now. They come into the mind, and some of them are nice, and some of them are not nice. And you catch on that just because it's not nice to me, it might be really nice to somebody else. Just because it's not nice to me now, it might have been nice to me yesterday, without me doing anything. Just the vibration coming in. Okay? If I don't know you, I'm in school, college, high school, whatever. I don't know you, I've never met you. And you come up to me and start talking to me, I may feel uncomfortable. I may feel, it's a little close, it's a little intrusive. Okay? If, however, a friend comes to me later and said, oh, he talked to you? Do you know who he is? And starts laying on the rap. Next time he comes up, you may feel really nice. Right or wrong. That's weird. So I want to get it straight. Is it nice that he or she comes up and talks to you? Or is it not nice? Come on, make up your mind. You can't. Because it's neither nice nor not nice. You're making it nice and not nice. Okay? There are people, I've met a few of them, who love rattlesnakes. They put them in cages and they carry them around in the back of their car. Okay? And there were people that would stay 7 miles away from the car if they knew a rattlesnake was in there. Which is it? Are rattlesnakes terrible and you just avoid them? They're the worst thing in the world? Or are they like, wow? Things just are. Listen to me. Things are what they are. The Buddhists got it down. They say everything has its nature. There's rain, gentle rains, and there's heavier rains, and there's storms, then there's tornadoes. Well, which are good and which are bad? There's no such thing. Okay? It just is what it is. But it causes damage. It causes damage. It waters the fields. Who knows what the heck it is? All I can tell you is you have no right to judge it. If I ask you a question, don't answer, but sit with it. Is it okay with you that Saturn has rings? I hope it sounds like a stupid question. Why would I have an opinion about something that is? It's always been that way. That's how everything is. Everything. A great being who's clear of the ego, or most of it, just sees things the way they are. That's what it is. That's your starting position. Doesn't mean you don't do anything about it. Doesn't mean you can't help. Doesn't mean you can't do things right. But you don't have to judge it. You can really, really like rattlesnakes, but when you see one crawling next to a kid, that's like, oh, the kid is a rattlesnake, right? You react to the situation from clarity in accordance to the situation. What you don't do is bring your ego into the situation. What is my ego? I said, different vibrations feel different ways to different people at different times. That's just a statement of fact, and you know it. Happens to you all the time. So you don't get this absolute sense of right and wrong. It's absolute sense of good and bad. Absolute sense of just and unjust. Those are ego things. Those are judgment things. If you had past experiences and somehow there was a judge and your family was being tried and it didn't work out well, but the judge overruled it all, okay? And just said, no, you're fine. Then you love the judges. If you're sitting in a situation where the person didn't do anything, at least you feel that way, and the judge was hard on them, you hate the judges. Which is it? Which is justice? Okay? You get to a point where you understand you have to start with things just are. They're not what you thought they were before. If you meet somebody and their father just died and their girlfriend just left them and they got thrown out of their apartment, you just met a different person for the first time than if they're just found out that everybody's healthy and they extended the rent for free because they won some lottery and the girlfriend came back after 3 years of being whatever. Okay? If you met the person under those situations, you would have a totally different impression of the person, would you not? Which is it? You do think for a moment that because you had that experience with that person, that you know that person. You don't. You know a momentary experience that you had. But what we do with those experiences is as follows, and this is where the ego comes from. Vibrations come in. They're real. You smell an odor. You think it's beautiful, it's perfume. You think it's disgusting, it makes you sick. Same odor. Okay? The difference is neither of you let it go and just be what it was. It was an odor that smelled pungent, all right? Or it was an odor that smelled sweet. There, that's it. It's gone. It does not have to stay inside of you. You don't have to make a thing out of it. You don't have to put a label on it saying, I like it, I don't like it. It has nothing to do with you. It's something that happened out here. It came in and passed through. I'm not going to go any further till I see whether you understand that. There's no reason to judge it. You experienced it. If you didn't like the experience, judging is not going to make it go away. All right? And if you sit there and say, I don't ever want to smell it again, now you built an ego. Instead of it being an experience that you had, it became an experience that you are. You defined yourself as a person. I don't like that smell. I don't like this person. I don't like what you said. I don't like, you understand that? You held on to the past experiences because you judged them as good or bad, and now you developed a self-concept. That's what psychology calls it. Ego is a self-concept. You developed a self-concept of yourself. What does a concept mean? It means you don't know. You just made it up, isn't it? What does a blah, blah, blah taste like? You don't know? Well, make something up. Probably it tastes like chicken. I don't know. So you're making up things inside your mind because of a single experience that you had. I guarantee you, if you had a not nice smell when this person walked by, not only do you not like the smell, you don't like the person. If you see that person coming towards you from 20 feet away, you walk away. Am I making my point? All right? Things are, maybe it makes the point better, the way it's supposed to be, the way it's meant to be. Things unfold, and you have the honor of experiencing them. And that's that. Be here now. That's what that means. They come in, you experience them. I'm not saying every vibration feels the same. It does not. Some of them are difficult, and some of them are really pleasant. Okay? But the difficult ones come and go, and the pleasant ones come and go. Guess what? That's not okay with you. That's what's not okay with you. It's not that the experience is not okay. It's that you didn't like the vibration, what it felt like inside. And so you either pushed it away and said, no, I want to push it away. When you push it away, does that mean it didn't happen? It's silly. Of course it happened. You're pushing it away because you don't want to experience it fully. You don't want it coming all the way in and touching you to the depth of your being. So you push it away with your will inside, and when you push it away, it stays. I always teach you this. That's the foundation of the teachings. It stays inside. Why? Because you kept it there. And what's it going to do? They're like building blocks, like bricks. Everyone you push away is a brick that's stored inside. Then you start to build a concept of yourself. I'm the one that likes this. I'm the one that doesn't like this. I'm the one who's okay to tolerate this. I'm okay if you say this, but not if you look like that when you say it. This is so important. This is the foundation of spirituality, and it will be the foundation of your liberation. So if you do that, or if you like something a lot, you don't want it to go away. You know you don't. You want to think about it. You want to think about it happening again. You don't let it go. So now that's another brick. And now you take these blocks and you build a house. And your consciousness lives inside that house. That is what an ego is. If you want to grow spiritually, you better understand that. It's nothing other than that. It's just what you built out of the stuff you didn't let go of Well, what about the stuff I did let go of? You let it go. You don't have what self-concept do you have about white lines? Is that the dotted ones, or the yellow ones, or the white ones better on the road? You have no concept at all, just like the Saturn have rings. There's just things come in, they pass through. You don't judge them. You don't have to hold on to them, cling to them because you like them. You have to push them away, suppress them, repress them, resist them because you didn't like them. If you touch it, you own it. If you touch it, it determines the rest of your life. The fact that this person had an odor or smell that I didn't like, I'm telling you, I can't see that person anymore. I want to walk away. Maybe they were just trying out some cologne or some perfume once in their life, right? They hated it too. You'll never find out. You just don't like that person. I won't go near them again. And if I see other people talking to them and putting up with that smell, I ain't going there either. That's the ego. People, that's funny. I was talking to somebody, but very spiritual person, right? And we were talking about something. I said, well, that's just the ego. She said, no, I don't see it as ego. Because what she saw as ego is this boisterous person that's egotistical. She saw egotistical as ego. No. Ego is my self-concept of myself. Not that I'm pushing it on you or boisterous about it. The fact is you have a self-concept. And your self-concept is built. What can it be built out of? The mind is empty. You understand that? The mind is empty. It doesn't know anything or care anything. It's a blank board. But you store stuff in there. It's a blank board that's brilliant. It's capable of doing almost anything. But in and of itself, it's blank. It's like your computer. It just sits there until you tell it to do something. The mind is empty. The Buddhists talk about empty mind. The mind is energy that's capable of logic and thinking and creating all kinds of stuff. In and of itself, it's like a camera. A camera could take pictures of anything, can't it? The camera doesn't know what to take a picture of. It doesn't care. It has no concepts or anything like that. The mind is that way. But you're not. The consciousness that's having the experience is not able to handle it as it passes through the mind. And so it stores it, either because it liked it, and you store the thing you don't like. Now these bricks, I want you to see them as bricks. They're thoughts. They're thought bricks. There they are. Ever have trouble making them fit? Come and look at me. Ever have trouble? Yet this brick came in and that one came in. Well, I don't like him because he smelled and this and that. But all of a sudden, my best friend is dating him. Met him and said, oh my God, I'm in love with him. It doesn't fit. You have trouble. You have to rationalize. Well, maybe he doesn't always wear the odor. I want to just throw it out there and see if you get it. I don't want to spend a lot of time with it. It has to match, doesn't it? It has to fit. You have to have an understanding of how all the pieces fit. Okay? What happens if you got them all put together? Have you ever, no one asked you this before, have you ever had all the pieces put together and then all of a sudden one piece does something that did not fit in any way, shape, or form of any concept that you had that person would ever do anything like that? And the whole structure falls apart. Has it ever fallen apart? Has it ever fallen apart? You didn't know what was going on. You didn't know who to talk to. You know, it just, that's because it didn't fit. That one brick was strong enough that you couldn't figure out where to put it. Here, you see your girlfriend walking with somebody else real close, holding hands. I never thought she'd do something like that. What is the thing? And you're trying to make it fit. Maybe it's her cousin. Is she mad at me? Did I say something? She's just trying to do it on purpose, didn't care about it. Just rationalize. That's what rationalization means. Trying to make the bricks fit. How does it feel when they don't fit? You know what you learn from what it feels like when they don't fit? Why you did it. There's discomfort in there, isn't there? Not the discomfort because something didn't fit. There's serious discomfort in there, like a black hole that you don't want to go to. And so you build this false concept of yourself and you hang out in it. And as long as it reasonably stays together, you're doing okay. But if things don't fit, then it causes trouble. All right. So basically, that is what ego is. It is the house that the consciousness built, your will built, to try and define itself because it lost its sense of self. You are the consciousness. You're the highest being ever walked the face of the earth. You're the greatest thing that was ever created. You are indeed made in the image of God. You are consciousness. That's what's made in the image of God. Your awareness of being. If you didn't have your awareness of being, you don't exist. No matter what else is there. You're not aware of it. Is the beginning and end of your being is your awareness. You're aware of your thoughts, you're aware of your emotions, you're aware of your body, and you're aware of what comes into your senses. Are you not? Take those things away and you'll notice they're gone. Take the consciousness away, you ain't there. Consciousness is it. It's the beginning and end of all things. It's all meaning. Nothing has meaning without consciousness. So basically, you're the consciousness, but you are looking away from yourself. You're conscious of objects of consciousness instead of being conscious of consciousness. That's what a great deep meditation is. Patanjali, the Yoga Sutras, wrote that concentration is not meditation. Concentration is the focus of consciousness on a single object. Okay? Meditation is the focus of consciousness on consciousness itself. In other words, to focus on a candle, if you're meditating that way, your consciousness has to go focus on the candle, doesn't it? What if the consciousness didn't leave the seat of consciousness? What if it was just aware of being aware, not aware of something? He defined that as meditation. The example I always use, I don't know what you guys get. You can let me know. I'm sitting here. Here I am. There it is. My consciousness is here. My body is here. Everything's here. Can I or can I not be conscious of that picture on the wall? Do I have to go there or walk up to it and touch it? Yes or no? You mean I can project my consciousness, which is still here. It didn't go anywhere, did it? But I can project my consciousness onto an object of consciousness. That's why they call it the light of consciousness. A light can be here, but it can shine over there. It doesn't leave being here, does it? That's the truth of consciousness. You are consciousness, but you are aware of what you're focused on. And you're never focused on being conscious. If I don't talk about it, somebody else, other teachers, of course, if we don't talk about it, you don't even know your consciousness. You're busy being what you're conscious of. You're busy being your body. You're busy being your thoughts. You're busy being your emotions. You're so lost in that they're so distracting that they distract your consciousness, and you don't what we call wake up. You woke up to realize they're just thoughts that you're aware of. It's just a picture I'm looking at. I don't have to stare at it. I don't have to get fixated on it. I don't have to define myself as I'm the one that's looking at the picture. Then what happens if I take the picture away? It's like death. No, it's not anything. The light does not die because you took the object it was shining on. Light does not get old. Light does not get broken. If it's shining on this beautiful, beautiful crystal object, and it's just shining like it's so beautiful, and you bash the object to pieces, nothing happened to the light, did it? It is exactly the same as it always was. That's who you are. You're the consciousness focusing on objects of consciousness. And all these objects of consciousness come in from the outside world, and then your thoughts, your emotions, and so on, and we get lost. That's, by the way, that is the fall from the garden. I don't want to talk about it. How do you know? Because if you get to the garden and you come back, you'll say, oh, that's what I did. If you get to the place of absolute ecstasy and total peace in God and where the great masters went, all right, when you come back and your consciousness gets distracted by your thoughts and your emotions and what's coming in, you realize, oh, I fell from the garden. Okay? I fell from the garden. What did they call the tree? It was the tree of self-knowledge. You started being aware of yourself as something separate instead of being the consciousness itself. And you fell from the garden, and you do it all the time, except you never got back, right? It's because you're so fixated on focusing on your thoughts, emotions, and so on. Now, once you start storing thoughts inside of you, it's enough that the world comes in, it's kind of distracting, but you can learn to deal with it. At least it's new every time. It's just be here now. These experiences are happening. Yes, it's smell, but it's gone. Yes, it's a snake, but it's gone. And just these different things are happening. And there's not a problem. There's no choices. There's nothing. They're just coming and going. They're coming and going. And they all fit inside of you. And they don't distract you enough to leave the seat of consciousness. That's called a centered being. You're completely centered in the seat of self. That's what we call it. All right? So basically, what happens, however, is it does distract us. So anyways, it's coming in, it doesn't. Then something comes in, it's a vibration that you're not comfortable with. All right? That people ask me, I won't touch it because I can't. All right? It's the deepest question you could ever ask, ever. Right? You have to go to the top of the Himalayas and go ask it of the greatest master that ever lived. Come back and tell me what they said. Right? If I'm God, and it's God consciousness, staring down at these thoughts and having these experiences, what do you mean the consciousness wasn't comfortable with it? What does that mean? That's like the original sin. If you were even with everything that came through, you would not have an ego. You would be God descended into his universe. And you would know it. You'd be Christ. My Father and I are one, and Buddha and everybody. Okay? But you can't do that. Why? Because there are certain vibrations, different for everybody, certain vibrations that cause your consciousness to focus on them. They're not even. Male and female are not even to you. But they are even. I told you before, they're all just atoms. Stand before a periodic table. Which of those elements, aren't that many of them, 96, 108, natural, whatever it is, which of them are male and which of them are female? I'm waiting. I mean, we say they're inert gases, they're this, they're that, but I don't see no male-female stuff on there. Yet, every scientist in the world will tell you that every single thing is made out of those atoms. There's nothing but those atoms creating form. When you get to the point where you're not busy doing stuff, right? Where stuff just is what it is there male and female? Yes, there's male and female. It's just there's objects out there, and they come in, and you experience them, and they pass through. You don't make a thing out of them. But we can't do that. The question is why? Well, that's I know why I can't do it. I know why you can't do it. But you get back to the primal cause of the first time anything got stuck in there. Why are there bricks in there? There's nothing solid inside, back in there in your mind. Or it's just etheric. It's nothing. Okay? But you create solidity because you use your will to resist these objects so they don't pass through. God, I hope you understand this. I think it's good that we go both highest and lowest. Highest is everything passes through. Everything passes through. I told you, I've been quoting a lot lately. Ramakrishna, great being, one of the highest beings ever walked the face of the earth, fully enlightened, in that state, all the time. All the time. They asked him, Master, does an enlightened being ever feel anger? You know what he said? Yes. Whoa, now this is a difficult one to understand. He said, it's like riding on water. In other words, anger is a thing in the universe. Jealousy is a thing, or did you make it up? No one knows what you mean when you say jealous or anger, right? Everybody knows what you mean. It's a thing in the universe. It's a vibration, is it not? It's a vibe. Like the electromagnetic spectrum has every single in between. It has all the different vibrations of light. That the universe is just that. It's all the vibrations. Everything exists. Emotions are vibrations. So are thoughts. So is everything. There's vibrations of energy. A great being can let them all pass through. That's what riding on water means. What difference does it make if you ride on water? Anybody ever see it? Cause any trouble for you later? No. It's gone the minute your finger passes down. It doesn't exist. It didn't leave any scars or impressions. That's what the Master said anger feels like. It just gone. It doesn't not exist. It doesn't stay. Well, what difference does it make then? It doesn't make any difference. It just passes through. What if everything did that? Then you're in there being who you're meant to be. The experiencer of that moment of the universe. As a Divyasena can ever teach you. God created the universe and then came down to play in his creation. And that's who you are. What do you mean that's who I am? Every moment in creation exists. But the only one experiencing this moment in front of you is you. Nobody else experiences the moment you experience. You know that. They never did and never will. That moment will never happen again? Whoa, that's pretty special. Wake up. What's the meaning of life? I just told you. Your consciousness is a ray of God shining on creation in order to experience the moment you're experiencing. Well, why did I have to experience that one? You don't get to ask that. There's one everywheres, and this is the one in front of you. So basically, the entire Bhagavad Gita teaches that. That's what it's all about. Any of you ever touched that book, you'll see that. Arjuna's on a battlefield, and he's saying, I don't want to fight this battle. And Krishna says, what's wrong with you? This is what's happening. You're a warrior. You're trained. This battle is happening. You didn't ask for it. Come on, man. Pick up your bow and do what you're supposed to do. It's my party. I can fight if I want to. But who's there? Who's high enough for that? I just want you to see what a great being, how he sees the world. Awe, respect. It says the man who has seen God sees God everywhere. In other words, when you're done with you, all you see is creation. All you see is the divine creation dancing in front of you. and you see that your dharma is to experience the experience fully. Just as, imagine, somebody's hugged you once, you loved it so much you melted to pieces, didn't you? Okay? What if everything did that to you? What if everything did that to you? What a gush of wind came by? Whew! You went, whoa, that was far out. What if all of a sudden rain came down real hard in like a bucket in just where you're standing and then stopped? Whoa. What if somebody walked up to you and said, I hate your guts, I can't even believe you exist, and then it goes away? What if somebody walked up, oh my God, I love you so much, I can't even talk, I can't even handle myself. They're just rushes of energy that come in and pass through. Okay, we're not able to do that, are we? Why? Because we built an ego. Because we built an ego that had experiences in the past that were not comfortable to us. And we don't want that to happen again. And if it starts to happen again, you get freaky, don't you? Or even if something that you really, really liked once before starts to happen again, you get freaky, don't you? Either I don't want it or I want it. That's where the I comes from. There is no I. There's just consciousness looking down into creation. But you build an I. By separating these thoughts and these bricks and building, you build an I. Somebody once asked Yogananda, what is the ego? Now that's amazing. They went to a fully enlightened master and asked, what is the ego? You know what he said? The masquerading self. He didn't say the evilness. No, he said the masquerading self. You are in there, you're the self, you're the consciousness, but you can't handle what you're looking at. So you built all these models out of the bricks that you held together, and you hold them out and say, this is who I am. I hope you like me. It's not who you are. It's this thing you made, isn't it? Can it change? All right, let's get serious. You meet somebody. This could be love at first sight. This could be soulmate level stuff, right? And the person sits there and says, yeah, I'm really attracted to you, but I know you smoke. I really don't like smoke. I could change. You see? It's like it's not real. It's not real. So it's not who you are. If you can make it up on a dime, will never make me laugh my head off. Can you not change what's going on in there on a dime if you want to? Then it's not you. It's a masquerading self. You built it out of your bricks, built an ego, and you put it out there and you try to sell it. If it doesn't work, I don't like my hair like this. Tomorrow it's different. I guarantee right now. All right? You don't like, I picked you up in a Ferrari. I'm into it. Oh, a Tesla. You're into Teslas. Okay, I'll sell my Ferrari and get a Tesla. You're not your Ferrari. You're not your Tesla. You're not your hair. Give me a break. But you are in there scared to death. Okay? And you have built this concept of yourself based upon your past experiences that were good or bad. And now you're out there. Not only do you try to sell yourself, but you try to change the world to match yourself. I'm going to live. I grew up in snow, and now I moved down to Florida, and I really miss snow. I want to get back up to the snow. Or I want to meet somebody. I'll meet somebody who's working up north. You do things like that, don't you? I'm going to try and manipulate it and even, manifest. I like that one. I'm going to manifest a world that matches my stuff. Well, which would you rather have? A person that doesn't match you? An environment that doesn't match you? Of course not. If it matches my stuff, I'm much happier, aren't I? If it doesn't match my stuff, oh my God, I'm not happy at all. So instead of getting rid of your stuff, you are literally out there trying to make it happen. Anybody guilty? That's all we do with our life. We're taught to do that. Even now in spirituality, it's a big spiritual thing. Manifestation, attraction. Attract to what you want. Get it the way you want. I want to know why you want it that way. Because I know why you want it that way. Because you stored stuff in the past and built an ego that has these concepts and views and opinions and preferences and hopes and dreams. They're not there. They're just made up. You can change them in a minute, can't you? I showed you that, right? So now you have this thing that I wanted to spend that time to where you fully understand what ego is. It's not egotistical. If somebody's really scared and shy, that's ego too. You know it's not ego? If ego is the masquerading self, not ego is non-masquerading self. It's pure self. It's just consciousness. Here I am. You said something mean to me? Wow. You said something really nice to me? Wow. All right, there's another story about Yogananda that I heard once, that when they first bought Mount Washington, that's where SRF, his headquarters is on top of a mountain in the middle of LA, right? A small mountain, and he ended up with it. But basically, so socialites came to the introductory party and stuff. That's who was in L.A. This is 1930, that kind of stuff. And apparently they were standing together, outside party, a garden party, and someone were gossiping. And Yogananda came, he had a turban on his head. He was an Indian. And they were gossiping about him. And basically, all of a sudden, one of the lady turned around and said, "Oh, my God, Swami Yogananda, I'm so sorry." Right? You know what he said? Don't worry about Yogananda. I killed him out years ago. All right? How would you like to be like that? Just to have fun. You're not doing anything. You're just experiencing reality, and then you're doing your best to help, to serve, to interact with it. Not, I'm not okay, so I built an ego, and now I need for everything outside of me to match my ego. That's pretty heavy duty, isn't it? That's kind of a full-time job. All right? So there. Now we have an ego. There it is. What do you do about it? That's why I started talking to you, now that we clearly see what it is. That thing is not easy to get rid of. You understand that? That's a serious, serious thing. You know what happens if you try to get rid of it? I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. All right, I want to get rid of my ego. What does it mean to get rid of your ego? I can accept things. I can honor people that don't like me. I can do all these kind of things, right? In other words, I just built another I. It has a name. It's called a spiritual ego. It's a real thing. I was into money. I was into women. It's for men, whatever it is. The relationships, this kind of stuff, right? Now I've renounced all that. I'm not interested in money. I don't touch it. And I don't like you because you're touching it. You're the same as everybody else. You just put a different mask on. I can meditate 4 hours a day. And the rest of the day I do mantra. And the highest mantra, the Gayatri. And I've been to India 16 times. Here's the list of the masters I met. The ashrams I lived in. Hello? I wonder who that is talking. Spiritual ego. I want you to see what ego is. It's real, man. Right? It's very powerful. Why? Because you in there are lost. You fell from the garden. You don't know who you are. You understand that? Your consciousness shined out instead of shining in. And then it doesn't know who it is. And it's not comfortable at all, is it? It's like having amnesia. Get your head bonked and you don't know who you are and you don't know who you're facing. You don't know nothing. That can't be comfortable at all, can it? That causes all kinds of panic. Well, that's the fall from the garden. You fell from the seat of consciousness, which is ecstasy and beauty and love. You were distracted by form and thoughts and feelings, so you put them all together and you made a you. And now you're caught up in that stuff. So if you get to decide, okay, now I'm spiritual, that ego is like a chameleon. I've been doing this for 50 years, okay? It is a chameleon. It will change in 2 seconds. And so you see the ego is a real powerful thing. It's not some little flippant thing that you can get rid of, right? Behind it is fear. Behind it is lost, and so on. I was preparing for Passover. We do Passover out here. And my daughter was younger then. And we used to, every year, look through the Old Testament of all. I don't read the Bible. We'd look through the Old Testament, see if I could find out some more interesting things to talk about during the Seder. All right? And I ran into this thing after the fall from the garden. You know, I don't know anything about this stuff. Never studied this stuff. All right? And it said, after man was thrown out of the garden, fell out of the garden, God took a cherubim with a flaming sword, and he set it at the east gate of the garden, lest man manage to get back into the garden. Instead of tasting the tree of self-knowledge, tasted the tree of eternal life. Now, what does it mean? You're going to get to know what it means. You may have met that cherubim. You can't get back to the garden, right? It gets scary when you start letting go of yourself, doesn't it? But if somebody says something and you want to defend yourself, but you don't do it, whoa, it's kind of hot stuff, isn't it? Ever got hot in there? All right? Maybe that's the cherubim, okay? Because you ain't getting past that. I remember reading and thinking, God doesn't have to put something scary there. He puts fear there, fear itself. It doesn't be something that makes you have fear, but put fear there. It's scary if it all falls apart, isn't it? Right? And Christ says you must die to be reborn. In other words, you must get past that fire of your personal self and come back to the beauty that's inside of you. But to get there, you have to stop being this thing, this ego. Right? Now you understand spirituality. Now you understand Christ's teachings. Now you understand all the spiritual teachings are that. Okay? You are the self. You are the consciousness. But you are addicted and distracted and fixated on your mind and your thoughts and your emotions and your body and the world that's coming in. That's who you think you are. It's not who you are. No more than I'm the picture because I'm looking at it, or I'm my car because I'm looking at it. You're the consciousness itself. So basically now I have this ego, and if you try to get rid of it through doing a spiritual ego, which no one will get there without going through spiritual ego. Why? Because I'm all caught up in my fears and my jealousies, my insecurities. I don't want to be like that. Okay, very good. How do I want to be? Just define another one. Because you still got the I going in there, don't you? This is how I want to be, and I'm doing good at it. Right? I meditate more than you do. Or I met more masters than you did. I got Shaktipan. The one I like the most is, my guru is higher than yours. Am I helping you? We could skip a few pitfalls around here. All right. So what do you do with the ego? Because you're not going to redefine it, and you're not going to rip it away. I'm going to kill it. I'm doing great. I'm killing it. That's your ego. That's just another ego. There's still a sense of I. You haven't lost that sense of individuality that is required for you to merge back. Let's just touch that now. Meher Baba, fully enlightened, avatar, highest being. When he reached the final state, he said, my consciousness was like a drop of water staring at myself. It fell into the ocean of consciousness. Find it. Put a drop of water in the ocean. I want you to find that drop. Never. It merges. That's what yoga means. Merger, union, oneness. All right. I should bring it. It's great. I can't have everything. But there's a section in John in the Bible which uses the word oneness about 20 times. It's unbelievable. Christ says, may they be one in thee as they are one in me, and like I am one in thee, and we're all one. Like, whoa. Well, that's that drop into the ocean. Christ's teachings are no different than the great masters of India. That's so far out. He's defining enlightenment. He's defining the union, the oneness. So that's who you are. You are the greatest thing ever walked the face of the earth. You're God descended. You're a beautiful being. But you're staring at something that's not so beautiful. Okay? You're staring at fear and insecurity and shame from things you did in the past. They have nothing to do with spirituality. Nothing. Guilt, shame, sin, all that kind of stuff. Those are things you stare at. Those are part of the psyche. They should not be discussed as part of spirituality. But how are you going to get past that? How are you going to learn not to stare at that? How can you get free? We call it liberation. Jiva Mukta. A liberated soul. There is a way. There are ways. But you will go through many, many stages, including spiritual ego. Come back and smile at me when you start noticing you built one of those. Okay? And you're doing your thing. And someday you'll realize, wait a minute. If I am me, I have to stop identifying with what I'm looking at. That's what it's all about. I stop identifying what I'm looking at. It doesn't mean I'm not looking at it. That's the breakthrough that I years ago realized that. I can't make it go away. That's me making it go away. Suppressing it. Fighting with it. You understand that? I have to be comfortable realizing I am the consciousness aware of an ego. That's a tough row to hoe. Getting comfortable with that thing. That thing's ugly, all right? And why? Is ego selfish? Don't listen to me. Do not ever try to make your ego not be selfish. Why? Ego is about you in there being lost and building this thing to try to make yourself be okay. It is 100% selfish. The only time the ego is not going to be selfish is as follows, right? I think people will like me better if I'm not selfish. It's just another ego. It's just another way of putting another facade on in front of yourself so that you can be okay. So basically you come down to, and I'm teaching you deep stuff now, where eventually you're just able to look at the thing. And I hope it's helping you to realize we all got one. We all got one. Don't be ashamed of it. Don't be afraid of it. It can't do anything. It can be weird, can it? It can be weird, and then you can suppress it, and it'll come back up. The highest thing you can do with it is not suppress it or fight it or not like it or put on a facade. It's to accept it. Accept it doesn't mean go with it. Accept it means I love someone who thinks they're spiritual because they say, I don't have an ego anymore. That's it. Okay. That's the ultimate ego, spiritual ego. I don't have an ego anymore. It doesn't bother me anymore. No, I don't have an ego anymore. You want to bet? Okay. Watch the person turn around and say, you do so. I do not. Okay? The higher state is that's how you know you're in the state, is you're able to look at that. It really takes something. Listen to me. That thing's strong. It's got all the problems you ever had stored inside of it. Has all the concepts and views and opinions and preferences, all of which are made out of your ego. There are no opinions in outer space. There's nothing. There's just life. But you got opinions and preferences and hopes and dreams and rights and wrongs and likes and dislikes. Don't you have all that stuff? That's all ego. Every single bit of his ego. What's not ego is empty mind. Consciousness, empty mind. Okay? Then there's not ego. And by the way, Ramakrishna, hope you can hear it, fully enlightened being, he made a statement once, I'll never forget it. I read it in a book somewhere. He said, the purified mind is no different than the self. The purified mind is no different than the self. In other words, if the self is not looking at all this garbage built up in the mind, and it's empty mind, it's all one. There's no distinction. The light that left the bulb is the same as the light that's on the way to the picture, is the same as the light that hit the picture. They're only different when you're staring at the picture and think, oh, I am the picture. Purified mind, when it reaches empty mind, when there's no ego in there, then it is no different. It's just one energy. Okay, Meher Baba said the same thing. Man minus mind equals God. You, not attracted and addicted to what's going on in your mind, remain in the seat of divinity, remain in the seat of God. Anybody understand? I said that to you. That's who you are. That's God descended. Well, when nothing's pulling you down, then you stay there. Okay, so how do you get rid of this 15-headed monster? Remember the Hydra? What they call the Hydra in Greek mythology? You cut the head off, two more grew. It's like that. So I'll give you some clues, right? You get to a point where you're not trying to get rid of the ego. You're not trying to not get old. You're not trying to not die. You're not trying to do anything, because that's just ego. So you're there, you're conscious, there are trees, there are grass, there are birds, and there's an ego. They're all the same. The things that exist in the universe. Now you're not able to do that. There's not a chance in the world you're able to do that. Why? The ego is extremely distracting. Somebody say one word to you that's not nice. That ego, boom, right or wrong. And stuff comes up and you get caught in it. And later you said, you come back, say, oh, wow, I didn't do well with that. Of course not. Your ego is strong. Do you understand that? How much you be proud of it? I got a big ego. Here's something else to live with. Okay? You just get to the point where you're comfortable with the fact that there's this thing called an ego in there. I have a big nose. I have a sore thumb. It's funny. It's just something you're aware of in the universe. There's a whole big universe in there. There's really big galaxies. And then there's a nose. I don't know what to tell you. Right? There's a thumb. There's whatever it is. And there's an ego. Okay, when you get to that point, and I'll tell you how to, a way that really works. When you get to that point, it's not a problem anymore. Yukteswar, Yugananda's guru, said the following: an ignored guest quickly leaves. These one-liners from these masters, you spend your whole life trying to understand them. An ignored guest quickly leaves. In other words, if you're not bothered by your ego, not that you don't have one, but it can't attract you, it can't do anything, right? It's just there. It's a thing that's there. Okay? It says something like, oh, you failed at that, you shouldn't have said that. Okay. Been there, heard that before. I told you once, been there, done that is a really deep spiritual state. Not I'm afraid of going there. Not I want to go back. I've been there, done that. I've said something to somebody, they said I hurt them, I didn't think I did anything, and the whole going on in there. Been there, done that. Okay? Okay, you let go. You let go. Okay, yes, that exists in the universe. Now an ignored guest quickly leaves. It won't bother you anymore if you don't let it bother you. Okay? So basically, you're seated in the self, you're watching the ego, but you can't do that. You'll notice you can't do that. So what I like to teach is, you're not going to touch this thing with the big stuff, defensiveness and fears and anxieties and preferences. No, just go down quietly and see if there's a part that you can work with. I always use the example of the car in front of you is not using their blinker. They kept stepping on their brakes. They're driving 10 miles out below the speed limit and you're in a rush. Hear me? Or they're swerving between the traffic and you're scared, okay? Okay. That is an event that you can't do anything about. Hear me? And it's not going to last, is it? A few more blocks, the guy turns or you get to where you're going. Okay? Then there's a line in the new book that Oprah picked out, right? The moment in front of you is not bothering you. You're bothering yourself about the moment in front of you. So if that car, do you ever talk to the driver in front of you? Honestly, I would blush. Has anybody ever talked to the driver in front of you? They do not hear you. It does absolutely nothing, is of no meaning or no purpose. I call that low-hanging fruit. Are you willing to work at that level? Because the ego is getting bothered by it, isn't it? What do you mean? I don't like the way that guy's driving. That's ego. I have a preference, a desire, a hope, a dream. I wish that guy went in front of me. I hope the lights don't change. Hope it doesn't rain today. They're just such little stupid things. The statement, I hope it doesn't rain today, it has nothing to do with whether it's going to rain or not. All it's going to do is get you upset and let your ego get weird if it starts to drizzle. So you get to the point, I want you to find some level, I don't care how low it is, that you can look at that and say, okay, ego, Mr. Ego, Miss Ego, we're going to work with this. We're going to let that driver in front of us be equivalent to the white lines on the road. We're going to let the fact that it might rain tomorrow be equivalent to the fact that I like that Saturn has rings. It's not my business. There's nothing I can do about it. You don't need to bother me about stuff. It's nothing I can do about it. It doesn't matter anyways. Okay? But it does bother you, doesn't it? I went out to lunch. I dropped some ketchup on my pants. I had to go back to work. Come on, man. You can't handle some spot on your pants? And I know you can't. That's ego. I have a self-concept. I don't get spots on my pants. I don't go to work with a spot on my pants. I go with ripped jeans that I paid $300 for, but not spots on my pants. Are we funny creatures? Okay. So basically what I would love you to do, I dare you to do it, is find a level that's not too freaky for you, that you can start working with yourself to get comfortable with your little ego. Okay? It doesn't mean that you're not going to feel funny because you got the spot on your pants. Doesn't mean you're not going to feel some little irritation because the driver in front of you is driving 10 miles an hour over the speed limit and you're in a rush, right? But you have the right to deal with that. How do I deal with it? I've done this for 50 years. The highest technique is relaxation. You relax in the face of the fact that it's not relaxing. You don't make it relax. You can't. Understand that? I told you. Jealousy is jealousy, fear is fear, and anxiety is anxiety. Don't you feel it? Anybody know what I'm talking about when you feel that little... Okay? You relax. You who's back here noticing that it's doing that. Don't get mad at it. Don't try to change it. Don't think you're not growing well. Don't get out there and do road rage to stop it. What do I do about it? Relax. Now, it's amazing. We get letters from all over the place, emails and stuff, right? All over the world saying, I get it. And when I started doing it, it changed my life. Of course it changed your life. You were busy getting yourself upset about nothing. Now at least you're not upset about that. You just learn to relax your way through it. It becomes a video game. It's fun. You're playing. It's a fun thing. You're having fun with the ego. You hear me? Instead of being afraid of it or doing what it tells you to do or getting mad at everybody because your ego said to, you're looking at the little thing. It's like Fifi. In my first book, I wrote a book back in 1974 called The Search for Truth. It talks about your relationship with your body like a Fifi dog. Whatever it says, you do it. If it doesn't like it, you don't do it. Well, at some point, you inherited Fifi. She's going to live in your house. Well, maybe she'll learn to live outside. You can train her, can't you? Right? You can train yourself. You're trainable. The highest species exists. So if it's still getting anxious about it, relax. Relax. Over time, it'll stop. Because you didn't feed it. You didn't suppress it. You didn't keep it inside. Next time, the driver's driving slow, you say, oh, here's it again. Relax. And eventually, fine, they're driving slow. It doesn't do the weird stuff inside of you. And the same thing with it might rain tomorrow. And you start realizing, wow, I'm the highest species. You train dogs. You train horses. You train dolphins. You train elephants. Can't you train a human? It's very easy. They're very, very smart. They're very, very trainable. All right? They know calculus. They could train. They can play sports. They can play instruments. They're something else altogether. Train the thing. Not by getting mad at it, by relaxing through it. That's everything I'm trying to talk to you about. You relax through it. Next thing you know, what did you learn? Not I learned how to handle the driver in front of me. I learned how to relax when something's uncomfortable. Well, that covers a lot more than just the driver in front of you. You hear me? If I learn to relax when something's not comfortable, then the next thing that's different but is uncomfortable, I can relax through that. And it starts to be at what level can you relax through? Because then something's going to happen too big. Lost it. Okay? What do I do if I tried to relax and I didn't and I got caught? Honor and respect that you learned. Get back up instantly. No guilt, no fear, nothing like that. No ego about it. It's just, okay, I'm doing the best I can and I'm learning. What do you do when you're playing the piano and learning the scales and you make a mistake? Get up and quit? Be mad at yourself? No, that's why I'm practicing. You're practicing being okay. That is your path back to God. That is your path to self-realization. You practice being okay with the everyday events. That's what's so beautiful. Bhaktivinoda Baba, all the gurus, big guru guy, said, life is your guru. So in the end, life is your guru. That I have certainly learned. The situations are going to unfold in front of you on a regular basis that are going to make you deal with yourself. Relax. Relax. And now that you can relax to that, there'll be something else. Relax to that. And next thing you know, you'll find out, geez, last year that would have bothered me. I didn't even think about it. Wow. That's growth. Not how long you can meditate or whether you can do mantras or stand on your head. Okay? Not that there's anything wrong with those things. They're good things. Okay? But this is where it's at. There's where the rubber hits the road. Every moment of every second of your day, you're letting go of what's keeping you from God. It's not, how do I get to God? No. How do I stop keeping myself from God? I'll end with Rumi. Rumi made a quote, very beautiful. You all know Rumi. And he said, it is not for you to seek love. It is for you to seek and find and remove the obstacles you've put in their place. In other words, you are love, but you put stuff in the way. Your guilt and fears and needs and desires and all that kind of junk. I can't feel love unless everything's the way I want it to be. That's an obstacle to love. So don't sit there and try to find love. Get rid of the obstacles that you put for love. So eventually you'll catch on. It's not that you're trying to find God or trying to reach enlightenment. You're already there. You're already there. Let go of what's keeping you from experiencing yourself, which is all this junk of the ego, all this noise. All right. I hope you understand these things. Jagrata.